Welcome to Property Care. Today we are going to discuss about how to reduce TDS when we make a property sale. I have seen customers right from 1% to 24% of TDS they are paying when they make the sale of a property. There is a huge percentage on 24% is something a big amount when we try to sell a property towards the TDS. So this also has to be paid, by the buyer when they make the registration. So this has become a huge burden for owners who are trying to sell the property. So how do we reduce the TDS? Paying huge amount and waiting for a long time to get the refund back from IT department. So what is the ways or options available to reduce this TDS so that we can pay only whatever the TDS is supposed to pay with respect to our property. So it's eventually reducing percentage from 24 to 3, 2, 1 or 5, 6. So like that, whatever the properties, actual long-term capital gain, we supposed to pay government. Only that percentage we are paying it. How to pay that? So that is the video we are going to discuss today. So this will help a person, particularly for an NRI who live in abroad and they are paying huge TDS when they sell the property. So Indian residents also it helps, when the property is already in a loss. So there no need to pay 1% TDS. And sometimes the property has a nil, long-term capital gain. On such case, you pay 1% and wait for some months and get back the refund. Suppose if you are paying reinvesting this money into another property where you don't need to pay the TDS. So how do we avoid that? That is the topic we are discussing today. Lower tax declaration certificate. So this certificate, if we obtain from income tax department and we can reduce the TDS amount, saves time and money in TDS refund. So this is applicable for residential, commercial, industrial sale and target audience are property investors, owners, tenants, NRI and OCI. The idea shared here for information and education purpose only. More details need to discuss with auditor or you connect with us. We can also help you on. So first of all, what is the lower tax declaration certificate? What is it is all about? This is a certificate issued by Income Tax Department to taxpayer who are eligible for lower or nil tax deduction at source. This certificate allows the seller to pay lower TDS on the capital gain earned from the sale instead of standard rate. For example, standard rate is 20% and this seller can pay 6% by justifying the indexation calculation. Officially apply it and reduce the percentage. So using that certificate, we can pay lower tax percentage. So this is the idea behind the lower tax declaration certificate. So I am walking through with an example so that you can easily resonate with your requirement and accordingly you can decide this. So John is an NRI, bought a flat in financial year June 2015 and planned to sell for 1 crore in April 2025. So around 10 years of difference, he is trying to sell the flat for 1 crore. So he may be bought for 50 lakhs and now he is selling to 1 crore. As per income tax law, the buyer deducts 20 lakhs on sale value towards the TDS and pays against the TAN number. But the John's actual TDS after the indexation calculation is only 6 lakhs. So he is supposed to pay 6 lakhs, but the buyer, as per the law, going and deducting the 20%, which is as per law and paying against his TAN. Now the John has to wait April 2026 and file the income tax return and get 14 lakhs refund in August or September 2026. See, he is selling in April 2025, but this 14 lakhs refund he is getting in August or September 2026. So it's almost more than a year he has to wait to get this refund. So how to avoid the long waiting period? So that is where this lower tax declaration certificate plays a role. So standard TDS for property sale in Indian resident 1% if the sale value exceeds 50 lakhs. For an NRI, the buyer deducts 20% on sale value for long-term capital gain If it is short-term capital gain, if the owner is selling within 2 years and he has to pay 30% short-term capital gain tax using the indexation method. So this is the method we are using. Currently, there is a new, after budget change, 12.5% without using indexation method. So in this example, I'm using the indexation method. So why it is needed and what are all the challenges? To avoid the John's TDS money locked with the government for more than 12 to 15 months. TDS amount is much higher than the actual. Say he is supposed to pay 6 lakhs, but the buyer deducts and pay 20 lakhs and against the TAN. So there is a big difference in actual tax and TDS deducted at source. So that is the topic we are discussing. And the refund hassle of waiting, 12 to 15 months reduces the time and better cash flow. So since it's locked with the government, there is no return on those amounts. So the cash flow is affected. So using this approach, it improves the cash flow. So Indian resident, if it is a TDS, and seller predicts the property loss or nil. If as per the indexation method, and if you find that I don't need to pay tax, then you can apply. Or if you are investing into another property within the 2 years period, and you can apply for this lower tax declaration certificate. So I am giving an example scenario. The first scenario is without this certificate, and the second scenario with LTDS certificate. So lower tax deducted at source. That certificate, I'm explaining two scenarios. So the first scenario is I am using without lower tax declaration certificate. So John sells the property for 1 crore and he bought 10 years before 50 lakhs. And long-term capital gain calculation is sale price minus indexed purchase price. See, I put a separate video for this to understand the indexed purchase price. There, please watch for the repatriation video 1 of 4. I explained this thoroughly in a separate video. I don't want to repeat that here. So please watch that to understand better, where I explained what is the indexation, purchase price, how to calculate, all the detail I explained. Here I am assuming that as per that calculation, the indexation calculation is assumed. I assume the indexation purchase price is 70 lakhs. This is as per the inflated value, as per the inflation. So according to the inflation, the purchase price, after 10 years, it becomes 70 lakhs. So long-term capital gain. So he sold for 1 crore and 70 lakhs is the applying the cost inflation index. The purchase price is 70 lakhs. So minusing that from 1 crore, 30 lakhs is the long-term capital gain. So tax for an NRI 20% of 30 lakhs, which is 6 lakhs. So he is supposed to pay 6 lakhs, but the buyer deducts the TDS 20% on 1 crore, which is 20 lakhs. So John's actual tax liability is 6 lakhs, but he end up paying in 20 lakhs as per the TDS rate, as per the income tax department. Then he claims the refund later, which is lengthy process and takes 12 to 15 months to refund, and no quarterly return filing also possible. With respect to property investment, selling, there is no quarterly return possible. So here only you have to wait end of the financial year, accumulate all the property sales you made, and only one go you can file the IT return on April 1st, the assessment year from April to July 31st. So that is where you have to file the IT return. So another example I'm taking with the lower tax declaration certificate. Suppose if I obtain lower tax declaration certificate, how does that going to help? Here John applies for a lower tax declaration certificate. This is the under section 197 Income Tax Act 1961. So he submits a proof of indexed purchase price cost, sale agreement, and long-term capital gain calculations. This is where he proves that he don't need to pay, 20%, and instead of that, he has to pay 3 or 4, whatever the calculation. Accordingly, that percentage will change. So income tax department issues certificate stating that TDS should be deducted at 6% instead of 20%. In this case, John case, only 6% has to be deducted. So the TDS at 6% on 1 crore is 6 lakhs, which is equal to actual tax liability. So that is the idea behind that. Using this indexation calculation, the long-term capital gain is calculated. In that, we justify to the government that this particular seller only 6% need to pay. So on such a case, we are applying this lower tax declaration certificate. Kindly approve it. So John pays the after the assessing officer approval, and John pays the correct amount upfront. Avoid the hassle of claiming the refund later, and take the key pay 6% to income tax department and take that acknowledgement and come for registration. This one don't try to do individually. This needs some help from auditor. Finding it is usually it's difficult to submit this alone, and going and asking assessing officer approval and all. It takes some time. So there is some government staffs are involved. Very difficult alone to get this approval. Take help from auditor and submit it. So this is how it look like a sample TDS certificate. I put it in this scenario 3%. So just to get an understanding how it look like, I put this. And eligibility to apply this, Indian resident NRIs who are selling the property in India can apply. It can be applied if the seller expect lower tax liability due to indexation. This is the main reason we are applying this. And the seller required documents, Form 13 is where you apply, give all the detail, the application, and sale agreement with PAN, Aadhaar, OCI card, passport, visa also have supposed to be submitted, and purchase a deed of property. When did you purchase? 10 years before, that property sale deed is required. Proof of indexation calculation. This is where the auditor will justify, IT department guys, that he's supposed to pay 6%. And bank statement showing payment details of all your, purchasing time, whatever the stamp duty you pay, all the proofs we have to submit. And PAN card, tax computation statement showing how the lower tax is calculated, and apply through the income tax portal. An assessing officer will review and approve. Approximately it takes 30 to 45 days. Sometime if an Indian resident, slightly lesser, you may get it in 25 days, 30 days also. If it's an NRI, there is an international level verification, so it takes little more time. So this is the example of how the indexation costs inflation index. So what is the table it look like? So if it is in a simple 2001 and 2, if 100 rupees, that 100 rupees as per the inflation now 372. So this 100 become 372 as per the today's inflation index. So like this, here John purchased at that time the inflation index is 254, and he is selling 2025-26, which is 372. So this is still government not announced. That's why I put the star. Approximate number is always it's above the previous year. So I put this number is for next year cost inflation index. So the formula discussed here. So this is certain videos we put it to understand investment playlist, property rental, sale, and property management. Please watch for the more details to understand better on this perspective. So this is our vision, mission, what we do, our property management services, real estate services, values, and some franchisee planning also we have. And this is our service catalog, self-explanatory. More details, please connect with us. We can also help you. This book I'm writing mainly for traveling guys who are living in abroad and here, in capturing few investment techniques, and it will be released soon. We have certain, business partner in these areas. I captured individually, separate in business partner playlist. Please watch for that and come. If you are interested, please connect with us. We can work together collaboratively for a win-win. And if you are not, you can share with somebody else who have these skills so that they can also connect with us. If you like this video, please give thumbs up and subscribe and click the bell icon, and comment if you have any specific questions with respect to this lower tax declaration certificate. Please share with friends and family. and they also, if they are planning to sell the property, so definitely they are going to benefit from this. Thank you for watching. Thank you.